What's up, guys? We're back again today with the Mark III Iron Man from the new Infinity Saga Legends line of figures or series, which hopefully we'll see continue down the road. We're getting some cool figures, some redos, and some brand new iterations of movie characters that we haven't seen done before. This Mark III Iron Man we did see done before in, like the initial release of the first Iron Man. And those figures are pretty classic and cool. If you have them, props to you. Those are cool as hell. But this guy looks like he's really setting the bar for Iron Man armor. And I am super stoked to open him. The package looks absolutely phenomenal. I'm so in love with the colors. So in love with these shiny sides that really show off the characters. It looks like in their endgame outfits for the most part. And on the back, you can see the first Iron Man movie poster. Iconic. It says, Tony Stark takes on the world's worst villains in the Mark III suit, a technological wonder equipped with a variety of stunning enhancements and upgrades. Very dope. On the other side, I'm pretty sure it's the same cast of characters. Or no, it looks like there's some variation. Rescue's on this side, Groot's on that side, and so on and so forth. There's a few different characters, but looks like there's a few consistent ones like Thor, Falcon, Hulk, etc. On the bottom there is the barcode. If you want to take a picture of that, go ahead. You can show an employee or go scan it somewhere. Otherwise, the top of the package is just pretty bland. You see the Iron Man spelling, the logo, or whatever you want to call it, and then Iron Man Mark III, Marvel Studios. So without further ado, let's take a look at this dude. So first things first, we get some cool accessories that plug into this little port here, and you can see they even put some sculpting down there, which is one of those details that isn't necessary, but shows that they were really making a big effort here to give us something very satisfying, and we will get to if they succeeded or not. But first off, we get this little gadget here. I don't know what the hell this fires, not gonna lie. But I do know that the sculpt and the paint look phenomenal. Very, very good job. I believe, maybe you plug it in. Some of you have done this are probably watching like this is painful to see. Does it go like this? Or am I doing this backwards? I don't think I am. Yeah, it does go like that. And you can see it plugs in there. There's a little bit of gappage in there, but for the most part, I do believe I remember him firing this in the movie, but it's been a little while since I've seen the first Iron Man. It looks really good. It looks like he's definitely obviously firing some shit, but very, very cool looking. And secondly, we get this bad boy, which is definitely my favorite of the two. That looks so damn good. The gold paint with the black on the very end, and just the color consistency of the outfit is just spot on. And then lastly, if you don't want this visible, all you have to do is plug this little piece in here and it will match the other arm. And then here we have the Tony Stark head sculpt with the open face. You can see they were going for Robert Downey. It kind of looks like him. The eyes look a little bit goofy there. Kind of looks like they're a bit disproportionate. Just by a little bit. Enough to be to my brain, I'm just like, that doesn't look right, so you can tell something's off. But this doesn't really capture Robert Downey too well. And maybe it's just because his face is kind of captured in this mask. Maybe that made it more difficult. And I guarantee they use the face scan tech, and usually it is spot the hell on. Usually, 9 out of 10 times they hit it out of the park. This is this one, that is kind of there, but it's still better than the Robert Downey heads we've seen prior to this. However, I would say that new Endgame 2-pack with Thanos and Tony, that head looks like it's going to be spot the hell on. But this one is okay and passable. I'm happy with it. The paint on it is very good. The highlights and the skin tone, good. The actual mask itself looks, I think, phenomenal. Personally, I love the black. That kind of looks like a padding almost. And then the gold is all consistent. It just looks overall very good. And then you can see here it's on a dumbbell joint. It doesn't look like the actual neck below is any articulation, but we have this dumbbell here. And to pop this other head on, it's a little bit difficult. I'm not going to lie. What the heck? There we go. Now it's on. And as you can see, damn, that looks good and it moves really good. It looks up pretty far. I could get into this in the articulation segment, but it's so important. It's okay. But damn, that looks really nice. That head sculpt is great. I love the black they put on the actual like mouth, just emphasizing it so well. The actual like piece, that black piece inside the mask, looks like completely different texture than the rest, and that's phenomenal. The red and gold too look great. The actual gold piece almost looks like it was actually placed in this, so it doesn't look like it's all just one big plastic piece. It looks like he's in armor that's connecting, like has connecting pieces. So it looks very natural. The eyes look pretty good. I wish they would have added some blue like highlights on the edges almost, kind of like in the picture, but that'd be kind of difficult because they're so small, and they achieved that with the arc reactor, so I'm pretty happy. Overall, I think this face is pretty good. It looks like I have a little spot there, but yeah, I wiped it off. So I don't really have any complaints with these head sculpts overall, like 10 out of 10 for me. Maybe a tiny bit of marbling, but that's something they really can't prevent, and it's bound to happen, and I'm, again, very passable. Not a make or break for me in any. Okay, then two necessary accessories, but two of the weakest are these hand like pulsar blast, pulse or whatever. They're painted white, and it's kind of refreshing to see hands that don't need the blast effects, so you can display him just like with a nice sculpt. But this paint job just kind of sucks. I'm not even gonna lie. The hands themselves look good. The sculpt looks fantastic, but again, the paint just looks dingy. But it's nothing I couldn't touch up. But most people aren't gonna take the time to touch it up and shouldn't have to. So kind of a missed opportunity, kind of a bummer. But a really good sculpt. Would have been nice if they had some blue in there, but yeah, it's whatever. We get some great accessories otherwise, and I am glad to see some sculpted hands. And then there it is on his arm. You can see that like actual pad on his hand is bent out, so you're not going to break anything. That's kind of nice. So after messing around with this guy for a little bit, I have to say that I do think we got our best Iron Man figure to date. I think this guy is a knockout punch, dude. Like, he is so damn good. Just first off, the sculpt is fantastic. The proportions on it are more proportionate than any Iron Man armor we have seen so far, in my humble opinion. I mean, I'm open to criticisms of that opinion. I'd be kind of curious to see other Iron Man figures that you guys feel may be on par with this guy. But in terms of just like the details, man, look at that neck paint, that gunmetal, little bolts there, even on the feet, man, just beautiful. On the sides, you have more of that dark paint. On the back here, overall, like just little details like that make this guy phenomenal. Even like the sculpting here on the joints makes everything so seamless. It's just so fluid and beautiful, and I'm overall like incredibly pleased. The actual sculpting is phenomenal. All the line work all throughout. The paint, the gold and the red is all very consistent. The only place you will see inconsistencies is with those joints. They're a little bit of a darker red, which is okay in my opinion. I'm not going to complain too much. I have a little bit of paint scratches here and there, but nothing like super noticeable to the point where it's like unbearable. But even on like the ribs here, we see the little gold paint. You can tell they put a lot of heart into this figure, man. Like, this figure is such a strong, strong addition to the collection. It's just magnificent, man. And again, the proportions are just so off the charts, just so good. The actual articulation, too, is fantastic, on top of a really seamless, beautiful sculpt. Overall, I don't really have... this is one of the first figures that I don't think I have anything that I'm really, like, displeased with, you know? No real suggestions where I'm like, this is a big deal. I mean, and this is a plus too. They added the shoulder pads that rotate inside, which is so damn nice. What isn't to like about this guy? I mean, this is a perfect figure. And the one spot where they do have a peg, it's so well hidden you don't even know that it's there really. It just looks like a pinless figure to me. The only thing too though is there's little paint imperfections there. That one's a little bit more noticeable. So I mean, I think my biggest complaint then would be just tiny paint imperfections. But even when you bend the knees, you get the sculpting in there. How cool is that, man? So happy. And again, when you remove this piece here, which is kind of a softer plastic, you have sculpting in there. so damn nice. And I would love to like just take like a dry brush and kind of use a gunmetal to kind of make that look a little more realistic. I think that'd be so cool. Lots of cool opportunities to paint this guy. I will definitely get a second one because I would love to do some touch-ups and bring him to life even more. But like for what he is right now, he is so damn perfect. And a lot of the articulation again is seamless and not even noticeable, man. Like this piece here, it doesn't look noticeable. I mean, you as figure collectors, we can definitely tell that, hey, this is articulated. But to the naked eye, I mean, if you just took a photo of this, maybe hid these joints, you might and really edited it like well, like on Photoshop or some shit, probably wouldn't even be able to tell that it's just an action figure. Like this thing is just so damn well done. I'm happy the armor glistens nicely. Biggest complaint I've seen people talking about is the marbling on the suit. You can see I have one nasty line going throughout there. But again, even if I turn them like this, it's not even as half as noticeable. I'm really not displeased. Looks like a dude in armor. The marbling isn't a big deal to me just because I've listened to Hasbro talk about it. Dwight Stahl, I don't know if it was Dwight Stahl or one of the other guys, Ryan Tang. I believe it's just an issue that they have with the factories, manufacturers, that they really can't prevent. It's just something that happens with a lot of different plastics. So it's nothing you can really hold against Hasbro and be like, why? Why is this happening? It just happens. Can't really do anything about it. It's a small sacrifice to make for the greater good. Arc Reactor looks very good as well. Want to note that. And the sculpt around it looks fantastic. It looks a little bit more like a sticker, but I do love the fact that we have the blue highlight wrapping around. And they even kind of made put like a light white coat around this here, this looks like if somebody put too much varnish on or something. But it looks dope, and from a distance you can't even tell it's there, and it really makes this thing look like it is glowing. So very, very cool. Underneath the arms, even some sculpting in there as well. So they really didn't even miss a mark with this figure. I'm so blown away, dude. And the actual elbow pieces here too, these elbow pads look fantastic and are incorporated really nicely, man, 'cause it looks like they're just elbow pads. You can't even tell it's like that piece on any other figure of the elbow, like on the superposable Spider-Man. How sexy is this guy? You can see there, you can tell it's just part of the joint. This looks more like just a piece of the armor. Doesn't even look like, it's supposed to like be just, you know what I mean? It doesn't look like an action figure, man. It looks like he's just a dude in armor in every way. The only thing that's a little visible is just these joints here. That's it. You take that away and it's like, dude doesn't even look like he's, like if you turn those to the side, shit, it just looks like a dude in armor. It doesn't look like a freaking action figure. So just probably one of Hasbro's best that they've ever released. So again, the head is on that dumbbell joint. So what you want to do is bend it back about that far, and you can see that there's a big gap there, and when he's flying straight, you won't really be able to see his eyes. I'm going to push it back as far as I can. Pull it forward. Yeah, it's all right. Looks down about that far. Obviously, his head can rotate. And of course, there is a lot of very organic, natural looking motion in that head. So very pleased with that. No articulation in the neck. The arms go up about that far. There are very small ball joints that are hidden by these big shoulder pieces. So that's cool. They rotate all the way around with those shoulder pads. He does have a bicep swivel. Doesn't look like he has a butterfly joint. If he does, it's very hidden, but I don't think he... Well, actually, it doesn't really look like he does. But yeah, bicep swivel, double jointed, pinless elbows, very cool. And then a hinge at the wrist that, again, is kind of hidden and doesn't have a huge range of motion just because of the armor. And it is like a horizontal hinge. Aside from that, you get a nice diaphragm swivel, rotation, whatever you want to call it. Nice pivot there, back and forth. You can go forward about that far. And you can see it kind of sticks out there. But if he's going forward like this, you would never know. Goes back about that far, and obviously, like I said, he does rotate but gets a little stuck, so I'd be careful that you're not having too much wear and tear if you're rotating him. There is no rotation at the waist. If there is, mine isn't budging. I don't think there is, sadly, but I guess it makes sense with this armor piece. Again, small sacrifice to make for a beautiful figure, and we do get a rotation out of the diaphragm joint, so that's just fine by me. Here's a big one. Whoa. drop down hips, dude. That is very dope. And that is part of why you can get him in that pose I showed you. Very nice. Rotation as well at the thigh. That is hidden very nicely. Legs go pretty far out, I would say. They go very far forward with that drop down. And they do go very, very far back. You can wrap it all the way around, which is very uncommon in a lot of Marvel Legends figures. And it has to do with the soft torso piece or plastic crotch piece too. So that's a very nice addition as well. Otherwise, you do have double jointed knees. Looks like there's one pin there, but it's kind of hidden in the armor. You wouldn't even know it's there. I didn't notice it initially, so I'm very happy with that. More sculpting down there. Very cool. After that, you do get kind of a rotation at the foot, so that's very nice. And it isn't too hindered by these pieces here because they're kind of a softer plastic as well. The point at the toes goes pretty far out, but is kind of hindered by this, you know. It's still soft plastic, but it does have a point of no return. You can't really push past this. It does go up about that far, and of course we do get an ankle pivot. So the articulation on this guy is just like above and beyond phenomenal. And all while you have that great articulation, you have a beautifully sculpted and very well proportioned figure. Very, very pleased. 10 out of 10. Okay, for a height comparison, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to take it back. The blue highlights on the eyes look like shit. I'm actually glad they didn't do it. But next to this other Iron Man suit, they're like exactly the same height. That's beautiful consistency. And I will say between the two that this guy is leaps and bounds better. This has been my favorite Iron Man figure for a long time, I think. And this guy absolutely one-upped him big time. So I am very, very pleased overall. And here he is next to the Guardian and my custom painted red skull. How beautiful. You can see he's quite a bit bigger than both of them and bulkier. Again, really emphasizing the fact that this is indeed a dude in a suit. And here he is next to this other new Iron Man we got. And I believe this sculpt was used on the Civil War Iron Man and maybe the Homecoming 2-pack Iron Man. I'm not totally sure, but it's very similar to the Civil War if it is not the Civil War armor. But you can see that they are just about the same height. This Iron Man, looking from my eye level, is just a little bit taller. So overall, I'm going to go for it. This dude, in my opinion, is a 10 out of 10. Overall, as a piece relative to the other Legends figures, he holds his own so freaking well. I think he sets the bar for Iron Man armors down the road and just Marvel Legends in general. He sets the bar, the drop-down hips, the soft tissue crotch piece, the accessories, the pinless joints, the articulation, how seamless it is, man. Maybe that'd be easier to do with the armor, but either way, it is a bar that I hope they aim to reach every single time, if they can. Obviously, we'll have some filler figures, but this guy is a beautiful example of like how our core characters should be in the Legends line. Like Spider-Man, Cap, Wolverine, even Blade, like Daredevil, Black Panther. I would love to see figures on par with this guy. This kind of articulation, this kind of sculpt work, and the soft torso piece and the drop-down hips, man, open some big doors. But overall, I think this guy's a 10 out of 10. You'd be crazy to not pay that $26 to $30 for him. I paid $48. I was a little nervous, but holy Christ, I'm so glad I did. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope you find him. Let me know if you found him in stores. If you haven't found him yet, are you going to order him? Let me know how you think he compares to the other figures in the Legends line so far. How he compares to the other Infinity Saga figures we're getting or you have gotten. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay happy, stay healthy, keep collecting, and get vaccinated. Delta variant's coming. Peace.